Have you ever wondered why people can't stop talking about your life, your choices, and your unwavering faith? It's not just idle chatter, it's a testament to something far greater. When you walk with purpose, aligning yourself with divine will, the world takes notice. Comments, whether they're admiring or critical, serve as echoes of a deeper truth. You are living a life set apart. This is not about seeking applause or approval, but recognizing the divine light within you that makes an undeniable impact on those around you. Each remark, each observation is a reflection of the undeniable resonance of God's work in your life. Living a life of faith is not for the faint of heart, it's a calling. And when you answer that call, the world cannot help but take notice. Let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. Saints are not sinless, they're relentless. They fall, they rise, and they walk with unshakable purpose. Your devotion, your decisions, your unwavering resolve to live in alignment with God's will, it sets you apart. People notice because they can't comprehend the strength it takes to walk the narrow path. They don't understand how you can keep your head high, your heart pure, and your purpose firm when the world pulls in every direction. Their curiosity is stirred because your life doesn't fit into their small, comfortable boxes. But here's the truth. They comment because they sense something extraordinary. Deep down, they know what you carry, a divine alignment they don't have the language to articulate. And whether those comments come as admiration or criticism, they are proof that you are living as God intended. When you live like a saint, you become a beacon. You don't just move through life, you leave a mark. They might call you overly righteous, too kind, too forgiving, or too focused on your faith, but that's their problem, not yours. What they fail to understand is this. You're not striving for their approval. Your eyes are fixed on something far greater. You're walking with a mission that most people don't have the courage to take on. They sit on the sidelines of life, comfortable in mediocrity, while you are out here running the race of faith. They want to know why you're different, but they don't want to pay the price to find out. You see, your life holds a mirror to their complacency, and not everyone can handle what they see. This is why they talk, because you make them question themselves. You remind them that greatness demands sacrifice. You show them what it means to rise above fleeting pleasures, to dedicate your life to something eternal. The noise you hear, it's the sound of a world grappling with the fact that you're living proof of what's possible when someone chooses God over everything else. Understand this, living like a saint means standing out. It means embracing the fact that you're never going to blend in. And that's a good thing. God didn't call you to blend, He called you to shine. So let them talk, let them speculate, let them judge. Their words are nothing more than proof that you're walking in your purpose, and nothing they say can take that away from you. Now, if their chatter only fuels your divine mission, I want you to drop a comment below. I'm proof that faith wins. Let's set the algorithm ablaze with truth and subscribe to Obsidian to keep this righteous movement alive. You don't just live your life, you illuminate it. When you walk in alignment with God, you carry a light so radiant it's impossible to ignore. This isn't the kind of light you can fake or fabricate. It's spiritual, undeniable, and straight from the divine. Scripture said it best, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. And guess what? They see it. Your light shakes people. It moves them, challenges them, and sometimes, yes, it exposes them. You're walking into rooms and changing the atmosphere without saying a word. That's power, and it's the kind of power that doesn't sit well with everyone. People are comfortable in the dark, but when you show up, your light exposes everything they'd rather keep hidden. Understand this, when you carry spiritual radiance, you make people reflect on their own lives. Some will be drawn to it, inspired by it, and want to know more. Others will be threatened. Your light reminds them of what they're not doing, of the faith they're neglecting, of the purpose they've yet to embrace. But that's not your burden to carry. You're not here to dim your light for anyone. You're here to shine boldly, unapologetically, for the one who gave you that light in the first place. People's reactions, good or bad, are a reflection of what's happening in their own hearts, not a reflection of you. And let's not forget, your light is not just a beacon, it's a testimony. Every step you take in faith, every time you choose love over hate, grace over judgment, purpose over distraction, you are telling the world about God's power. Your life preaches louder than any sermon. So don't let their envy, their doubt, or their discomfort silence you. They'll talk. Let them. Because what they're really doing is bearing witness to God's work in your life. Your job isn't to convince them, it's to keep shining no matter how bright it gets. Hello, chosen one. Look at your life, now look at ours. Back at your life, now back at ours. Sadly, it's not yet the Obsidian inner order, but it could be. With recorded weekly group calls that leave no spiritual stone unturned, an active private Discord server buzzing with 450 enlightened souls, and exclusive video specials so spicy they'd make YouTube blush, the Obsidian Inner Order is the community your higher self has been waiting for. Picture this. You, shoulder to shoulder with chosen ones from around the globe, sharing knowledge, breaking barriers, and laughing in the face of archonic manipulation. It's not a dream, it's the Obsidian Inner Order. Look at your inbox. Now back at me. Where's the link to join? Oh, it's in the description. Don't just live chosen, thrive chosen. The Obsidian Inner Order. Smell like ascension, not regret. Your life is a mirror. When you live in faith, walking boldly with God, you reflect something in others that they can't ignore, and not everyone can handle what they see. For some, your life is a reminder of their own untapped potential, their strength, their faith, their calling that they've allowed to sit dormant. For others, it's a glaring spotlight on their weaknesses, their fears, or the compromises they've made. Here's the thing. People don't just react to you, they react to what you represent. To some, you're hope. To others, you're a threat. Either way, their comments, their criticisms, and even their admiration are never really about you. They're about how your life makes them feel about themselves. Think about this. When Jesus walked the earth, he didn't just attract followers, he attracted enemies. The Pharisees hated him, not because he was wrong, but because he was right. His righteousness, his power, his light, it exposed their hypocrisy, their insecurities, and their unwillingness to change. You're walking that same path. Your faith shines a spotlight, and it doesn't always land softly. So when they criticize you, when they call you self-righteous or too holy, understand this. It's their own struggles speaking. They see your strength, your faith, and your commitment, and they don't know what to do with it. They're fighting battles you can't see, and your life has become a battleground for their unresolved issues. But this is where your compassion comes in. You don't lower yourself to their level. You don't fight criticism with criticism. You stand firm, unshaken, and let your life continue to be a testimony. When people react to your faith, it's because they see something they're drawn to, even if they can't admit it yet. And here's the kicker. Whether their reactions are positive or negative, they prove one thing. You're making an impact. You're living a life so aligned with God that it stirs something in everyone around you. That's the kind of life you should be proud of. Let them talk. Let them wrestle with what they see in you. Because every comment, every reaction is evidence that God is working through you. Living like a saint in today's world is an act of rebellion. In a culture obsessed with materialism, pride, and comparison, choosing faith, humility, and purpose makes you a revolutionary. You're swimming upstream and the current is strong, but saints were never called to follow the crowd. Saints are leaders, trailblazers, and disruptors. Living like a saint doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're different. It means you're willing to sacrifice fleeting pleasures for eternal rewards. It means you're walking in holiness, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. And yes, the world notices. They see your peace in the middle of chaos, your kindness in a sea of selfishness, your humility in a world screaming for attention. But don't be fooled. This path comes with challenges. The world doesn't celebrate what it doesn't understand. They'll call you names, mock your choices, and question your motives. They'll try to pull you back into the patterns you've left behind because your transformation makes them uncomfortable. But their approval isn't your goal. God's approval is. Think about the saints and biblical figures who came before you. Joseph's brothers mocked him and sold him into slavery because they couldn't handle his dreams. Esther risked her life to save her people, knowing the world might never applaud her courage. David, underestimated and ridiculed, faced Goliath with nothing but faith and a sling. They didn't live for the crowd. They lived for their calling. You're no different. Every step you take in faith, every moment you choose God over the world, you're inspiring someone else, even if they don't tell you. People might resist you, but deep down, they respect you. And one day, your unwavering commitment will speak louder than any criticism they ever threw your way. Living like a saint means you're playing the long game. You're not chasing likes, applause, or recognition. You're chasing the approval of the only one who matters. And when you do that, you leave a legacy that outlives you. So stand tall, stand firm, and remember this. Saints aren't remembered because they fit in. They're remembered because they stood out. People talk. They will praise you, criticize you, misunderstand you, and even try to define you. But here's the key. You don't live for their commentary. You live for a higher purpose. Whether the words are sweet or sour, your response should always reflect the divine wisdom you carry. When the praise rolls in, it's easy to let it go to your head. Don't. Stay humble. Every good thing they see in you is just a reflection of God's work in your life. Accept the compliment, but redirect the glory where it belongs, to Him. People may admire your faith, your strength, or your resilience, but you know better. You know that without God, none of it would be possible. Then there's the criticism, the harsh words, the sideways glances, the judgment that cuts deep. Don't let it shake you. Let me remind you, the world hated Jesus first. If they didn't spare him, why would they spare you? Their words may sting, but they're rooted in their own insecurities, not your worth. Pray for them, reflect on their comments if necessary, but never let their negativity pull you off course. There will be times when the comments seem relentless, like the world is ganging up on you for simply living in truth. This is where your strength is tested. Stay focused, stay grounded, lean into prayer, scripture, and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. You're not here to defend yourself, you're here to walk in your purpose. And here's a truth you need to hold on to. The world reacts most strongly to those who disrupt the norm. Your faith, your light, your commitment to God, it's not normal, it's supernatural. When you walk in alignment with His will, you shake things up. That's why they're talking. That's why they're uncomfortable. And that's why you must keep going. Every comment, whether good or bad, is a reminder that you're on the right path. The world doesn't notice people who fade into the background. It notices those who shine. So take their words, every compliment, every critique, and use them as fuel to burn brighter. You are not here to be silenced or diminished. You are here to be a testament to God's glory. You're not here by accident. Your life, your journey, your struggles and your triumphs, they're all part of a divine blueprint. And every comment, every reaction you provoke is proof that you're walking in alignment with that purpose. When people take notice of your life, it's because God's work in you is impossible to ignore. Think about Job. His life was a testament to unwavering faith, even when everything around him fell apart. People doubted him. They questioned his loyalty to God. Yet through every trial, Job stood firm, proving that his faith wasn't rooted in circumstance, but in the unshakable knowledge of who God is. That same divine purpose flows through your journey. Or look at David. He was a shepherd boy, underestimated and mocked, yet chosen by God to be a king. His life wasn't easy. He faced giants, betrayal, and relentless criticism, but he never lost sight of his purpose. Why? Because David understood that his journey wasn't about pleasing people. It was about fulfilling God's plan. When you live with divine purpose, you will face resistance. Not everyone will understand your choices. They'll wonder why you sacrifice, why you forgive, why you refuse to chase the same empty goals they do. But let me remind you, their confusion is confirmation. If everyone understands your path, you're probably not on the one God intended. Your purpose isn't for the faint-hearted, and it's not for the approval of the masses. It's for an audience of one. Every step you take in faith, every choice you make to honor God, it's shaping your legacy. People will talk, but their words pale in comparison to the eternal impact you're making. So the next time someone questions your life, remember this: God didn't call you to fit in. He called you to stand out. The journey you're on is bigger than their opinions, bigger than their praise, and bigger than their criticism. You're living proof that when God sets someone apart, the world takes notice. Let their comments remind you of your purpose, but don't let them define it. Stay focused, stay faithful, and keep walking in the confidence that your life is a reflection of God's perfect plan. Let me break it down for you. When people talk about your life, they're confirming something divine. Their words, whether kind or cutting, are echoes of a deeper reality. God's fingerprints are all over you, and even those who don't believe can't help but notice. What they're really doing, whether they realize it or not, is acknowledging God's work in your life. Think about it. When your faith inspires admiration, it's because your life is shining with the unmistakable presence of God. But even when criticism rolls in, it's not a failure. It's proof that your light is too bright to ignore. Darkness doesn't complain about dim lights. It reacts to the ones that expose it. This is how God works. He uses earthly voices, sometimes even critical ones, to affirm His presence in your journey. Their words, their observations, their opinions, they're all signs that your life is making waves in ways you may not even realize. And here's the best part: God doesn't waste a single comment. Every word, whether encouraging or discouraging, is part of the greater narrative He's weaving through you. The key is to shift your perspective. Don't see criticism as rejection, see it as confirmation. Don't dismiss admiration as flattery. Receive it as a nod to the God who's working through you. And don't let any of it distract you from the mission. Whether they love you or misunderstand you, you're not here for their approval. You're here for God's. Even the voices that challenge you are tools in His hands. They're there to strengthen your resolve, refine your character, and push you closer to Him. So the next time someone comments on your life, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what is God showing me through this? How is He using this to shape my journey? Remember this: you're not just living a life of faith, you're living proof of God's faithfulness. And that's a story worth telling. Let the world talk. Let them wrestle with what they see in you. Because at the end of the day, every word is a reminder that you're living a life that reflects the glory of God. History is full of people whose lives stirred the world, not because they conformed, but because they obeyed God. Their stories weren't always easy, but they were always significant. When you live like a saint, you're walking in the footsteps of these spiritual giants, ordinary people who dared to live extraordinary lives for God. Take Joseph, for example. His own brothers couldn't handle the vision God gave him. They mocked him, plotted against him, and sold him into slavery. Why? Because his dreams reminded them of what they lacked. But Joseph stayed faithful, even in the darkest moments. In the end, God elevated him to a position where he not only saved his family, but an entire nation. The very ones who doubted him were the first to witness God's plan in action. Look at Esther. She wasn't born into power, but she didn't let that stop her. When her people faced destruction, she stepped into her divine purpose with courage that defied the odds. She could have stayed silent, could have protected herself, but she didn't. Instead, she declared, "If I perish, and saved her people. Esther understood this. When God calls you, it's bigger than your fears, bigger than your comfort zone, and definitely bigger than the opinions of others. And then there's David, a shepherd boy, underestimated and overlooked, chosen by God to defeat a giant and eventually rule a kingdom. Goliath mocked him, his own brothers doubted him, and yet David stood firm. Why? Because his confidence wasn't in himself, it was in God. Every stone he slung at Goliath was a testament to the power of unwavering faith. These stories aren't just historical accounts, they're blueprints for your life. Like Joseph, you may face betrayal and misunderstanding, but your faith will carry you. Like Esther, you may have to take risks that others won't understand, but your courage will inspire. Like David, you may stand against giants, but your strength will come from a higher power. Here's the lesson. The people who comment on your life today are no different from the ones who doubted these biblical figures. They might not see the full picture yet, but that's okay. They don't need to. Your job isn't to convince them, it's to stay faithful, knowing that God will reveal His purpose in His time. When you walk in faith, you're part of a legacy that spans generations. You're living proof that God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Let the world talk, let the critics doubt. Your story, just like theirs, will be one that glorifies God and leaves an eternal impact. Living your truth in faith means standing firm in who God created you to be, no matter who's watching or what they're saying. It's about owning your calling with unapologetic confidence. You are not here to play small or hide your light. You are here to live boldly, walking in the truth of your divine purpose. The world will try to tell you to tone it down, to blend in, to follow the crowd, but you're not here to follow anyone but God. Living your truth means embracing the unique path He's laid out for you, even when it doesn't make sense to others. It means knowing that your faith isn't just a private belief, it's a public declaration of who you belong to. Think about the power of individuality. God didn't create you to be a copy. He made you an original. Your quirks, your strengths, your story, they're all part of His masterpiece. Don't trade that authenticity for the fleeting approval of people who don't even understand your journey. Living your truth means trusting that God's plan for you is better than any opinion the world could offer. And let's not forget the importance of Scripture in grounding your truth. When doubt creeps in, when criticism gets loud, remind yourself of this. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. That's not just a promise, it's a battle cry. It's a reminder that your truth isn't up for debate. It's anchored in God's unwavering love and purpose for you. Living your truth in faith isn't easy, but it's powerful. It inspires others to seek their own truth. It shows the world that faith isn't just a concept, it's a way of life. And most importantly, it honors the one who called you, chose you, and set you apart. So don't hold back. Walk in your truth with confidence, knowing that every step you take is guided by divine hands. The comments you hear are not just about you, they're about the God who works through you. When people can't stop talking about your life, whether they praise you, question you, or criticize you, it's because your faith demands attention. You are a living, breathing testimony to God's goodness, and that's something the world simply cannot ignore. Here's the truth. Living a life of faith will always draw attention. Some will admire you, some will misunderstand you, and others will oppose you. But none of that matters, because your journey isn't about them. It's about staying aligned with the one who called you. Their words, their reactions, their opinions, they're just noise. Your purpose is divine, and your approval comes from God alone. So stand tall, walk boldly. You are chosen, you are loved, and your life is a testament to God's glory. Reflect on the light you bring to the world and commit to living boldly in your purpose. Let every comment, good or bad, remind you that you are walking in divine favor. And as you move forward, thank God for His guidance and affirmation. Claim the blessings He has for you and never forget, your life isn't just about you. It's about the God who shines through you, drawing the world closer to Him.